Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining me, Fala. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Kyle. Nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you. And so, first of all, this film, Shang-Chi, is absolutely incredible. I am a huge Marvel Studios fan, and this is easily in my top 5 favorites already. And I've only seen it once.
Oh, thank you so much. It will become your top 3 and then top 1. As you watch it more.
I think so too. I can't wait to see it in IMAX. So tell me a little bit about, your character Lee plays a vitally important role both to our hero as well as the mythology behind the, Shang-Chi. Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yeah, she comes from the village of Talo. She's a fierce warrior, and she has superpower on her own, and when she met Wenwu, she became, fell in love with him, and constructed a family with him, and she became the mother of Shang-Chi and Xialing. Yeah.
And I love her. She's a tough warrior. And anytime I see women like that, I just think it's awesome. We need more of that, and it's very well represented in this film. So for you, you had this one incredible sequence, and I'm trying to stay as spoiler-free as possible. You had this one incredible sequence that is very majestic and beautiful and almost like a dance. Was that fun for you to do, or was it scary, or?
It was both. I was very nervous, even though I trained weeks and weeks for it. But it was, one of the first scenes we've shot, and I was opposite, Tony Leung. So I was super nervous, but at the same time, they built this beautiful set for us it's like our playground in a way. We had many parts of that set. It was almost like a 360 set, and we had like waterfalls and leaves and bamboo forest that moves. They had like machines built underneath the bamboos, and it was like moving around us. And it was just like, we didn't have blue screens pretty much. It was just like a real forest. So it was so beautiful. And then, to play with Tony, and that was just the easiest part of my job. It was to fall in love with him. He's so charismatic and such a great actor to work with, and so easy to work with. He's super kind and gentle, and humble at the same time. And I've always dreamed of working with him, and I finally got the chance. I still don't know how and why, I'm like, what? But yeah, and having to really tell myself okay, now fangirl, leave me, and now let's work, and just to focus on the role, and to understand I play, he's counter equal part, and to hold my ground and have that power, and I think her power comes within, from the, her confidence and her, kind of inner strength, that gives her, in contrast with, Wenwu's power and, his masculine power. So she's more like the yin and he's like the yang. So then you see this beautiful dance between them and how they fall in love. And I just absolutely adore that scene.
Yeah, me too. And I wanted to live there. I was like, wow, can we go and visit this place? Because I want to set up shop there. What for you, were you prior to this, were you a Marvel fangirl at all, or was this your first jump into the universe?
It was kind of a bit of both. As soon as I learned that I received the offer, I immediately dug really deep into it, because Shang-Chi is a story that we really haven't heard too much since the original comic books, and so I didn't know much about it. But at the same time, I watched all the Marvel films before, but I feel like I need to understand the story itself as an origin story, and then my character, many characters in the story were expanded upon that Shang-Chi's character, so it was also a lot of Q&A, me with my little notepad following Destin. I'm like, Destin, I have another question. Why is it? Who is it? So I was asking Destin a lot of questions, and to build that world and to understand that world. But yeah, I even though having watched all these Marvel films, it was just really hard for me to imagine what this film would look like in its full force while we were filming it, and now seeing it completely done, it's just amazing to me. I can't imagine how much work and hours and love that they've put in this film, hundreds of people behind the scene to make this happen.
Yeah, and it turned out absolutely beautifully, and kudos to you and everybody in the cast and crew for that.
Thank
Do
you.
you think with this film, there's been a, how do I say it? In the last few years, Asians represented in mainstream media
Yeah.
has gotten a little bump, which is good, and we need way more of. But this, in my opinion, I hope will just, break it into the stratosphere. How do you feel about being in a film that is primarily an Asian cast, that is, respectful and true to the spirit of the original comic, and, is bound to be a worldwide smash?
Yeah, I feel very honored. We all, I think I can speak on behalf of the whole cast and crew, we collectively felt that sense of responsibility, but at the same time, we just kind of like, well, we just have to give our best. We have to make the most badass movie in the world. Like, so that synergy has always been with us along the creation of this film. But at the same time, we just feel like, it's only the one of the first, of many, and we think not only it's because it's important because it's created in the imaginary world, it's representing our presence not only in the real world but now in the Marvel universe, that expands people's imagination. It breaks boundaries. It's a story that's so universal about family, about love, that I feel like anyone can relate to. And I think in that sense, it's groundbreaking. But at the same time, as an actor, I, working in America, only recently, but I feel like, we have to set examples. Now we have, I think, for kids, the next generation growing up and seeing actors and to be inspired to go into this profession, because I feel like traditionally I feel like our culture and the family, I feel like acting is just not a traditional kind of a career path. And hopefully now, people see that and they will allow their kids to wanting to do whatever they want, and including acting as, something that's viable and that's encouraged. And I'm really hopeful for that as well.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I cannot wait for everybody to see this movie, and I can't wait to go and see it again.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Have a good day.
Thanks. Hey, Adina.
Hey.
How are you? Thank you so much for speaking with me on iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly. I really appreciate it.
I so very much appreciate you asking me to speak with you. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. So first of all, I love you. I love your character, but I want to go back a little bit. You have been on the show. You were on the first season.
Yes. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry to say. I remember my lines, the names after a while, but I remember her description. She was considered the most boring woman in the world.
Sally?
Yes, Sally. I mean, we were this stupid stuff. No offense, Sally's out there. But yeah. And I remember wearing this bright green colored shirt to the audition. And another actress that came up to me and she said, "She's supposed to be really boring. Why are you wearing that brightly green colored shirt?" And I said, "She doesn't think she's boring."
Right.
And I got the job. So.
I love that. And then you came back. Your next one was Roanoke?
Yes, my next one was Roanoke, and I got to play the real version of Angela Bassett playing the actress, because it was a reality show, and I don't remember her name either. What's her name?
I can't remember. It's funny. I remember the one from 10 years ago, not the one from 3 years ago.
Beyond grateful. Beyond grateful.
And so what was that like to get that call, so many seasons later, like, hey, we want you back and we have a juicy role for you?
I didn't get that call. I got the call from my agent saying, we have an audition for you for American Horror Story. So it was just another audition. Yes. It had, and so I went in and I auditioned. The sides were not the sides that we ended up doing. They kind of send out a bit of phony sides to kind of keep the mystery going. And I just did a good job. And I'm told that before I was hired, Mr. Murphy checked out my performance from season 1 and thought I was still good. And so I was offered the role, but after the second audition. So.
Wow. Well, obviously the right choice was made, in my opinion. And then I assume from there then you got the call, right?
yes. Then I got the call. And then ever since, just like trying to stay good so that I continue to get calls.
And I don't think that'll be a problem at all. I've loved every season, Cult and Apocalypse. Thank you.
Yes.
And now here we are, with double feature, and I absolutely love this season. So your role as the sheriff, I haven't figured her out yet. I think that I want to love her. But then I feel like I shouldn't just go with that because this is American Horror Story. So I'm like, cautiously loving her. How is it in this, kind of this version, this season? What is it like playing the sheriff?
Well, pardon me. When we all got the scripts, we weren't given the roles. We didn't know who was playing who. So I just read the script and fell in love with the chief, and then just crossed my fingers that was the role that I got to play. There's this line from Hamlet, the play's the thing. And when we shot this season, there were definitely bigger things that the sheriff said and did that ended up not making it to the final cut. But the writers are brilliant in this show. And there's a reason why there's 10 seasons and 3 more to come, at least. We needed someone who was more grounded. We needed someone who was not hungry for fame. I mean, I played a chief who worked in Oakland. I could have stayed in a big town and become a big fish there, but I wanted a little bit more relaxed life and come to this quiet little rich folks white town where I think I could just kind of coast for a little bit. So you needed someone who was not willing to sell their soul for fame. And it kind of, I think, balances it out with everyone else around who is willing to take that bet. You know what I mean?
I do. And I love that. Until you said that, I didn't really realize that. And as you're saying that, it's hitting me that, wow, everybody does kind of have a hunger in some way, particularly, the fame angle. You are now, now that I'm thinking about it, kind of the, at least so far, the moral center in a lot of ways for this crazy cast of characters. And you, at least to me so far, seem not, a part of this crazy cast of characters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, look, when I first watched it, my ego as an actor was like, oh, I missed that line. Oh, I missed that line. But then once I saw the whole arc of everything, and that's what I meant about the place and thing, it I think it hit so much more an emotional punch if you if you also can relate to a person who is not willing to sell their soul to be a great writer, not willing to sell their soul to become rich. And so that you can then, you decide which camp you want to be in. And I think sometimes you know, I was kind of shocked during an election year. I don't know who said it, but there was once a time when the boss made this much money and his employee made this much money. Now the boss makes this much money and the employee makes this much money. And when I think about Evan characters, it was his or Francis who said, those people who are on opioids, we're doing them a favor. We are cleaning up societies. It's the people who aren't needed anymore. They're just they're draining us, but we leave behind art that will outlast them all. And so the chief is fighting for those people who aren't brilliant but still are worthy. And so yes, there's the shock value and the gore and the over the top fun of this. But then there's also that little bit of line of like, ooh, let me think about this society-wise. Let me think about this. And do I really need to check how many likes I have? And do I feel better if I have a lot of likes that I'm famous? Or do I feel bad if I don't have a lot of likes? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think these writers, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and to your point, it is genius, and this is a theme or is recurring throughout all of the AHS seasons, is that it is in many ways a creative commentary on something very real. In this case, to your point about opioid abuse, we have people in society that, I've seen it on Facebook or on talking heads on the news or whatever, that when the subject of addiction comes up, particularly drug addiction, people are like, well, why are we spending taxpayer money to revive them, and that sort of thing. Why are we, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the shot that can reverse an overdose.
Yes.
But, why are we paying for that? It's their choice to do drugs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what kind of society are we choosing to live in? Are we choosing to help, those less that are in a moment of less than me where I am at this moment and could use our help as a society? Or are we letting those in need die? And the this season in particular with that plot is, in my opinion, a very creative way of dealing with it as a commentary,
Yeah, and without it being like over the head, because you don't think about that, but after a few episodes, you kind of think, oh, wait a minute, what are they saying there? And those people we've all come to figure out now too, like cigarettes, those opioids were addictive and may become even more addictive, and there's some people making money off of it as well. So it just brings up a lot of food for thought while we're being entertained, a lot of food for thought. And then I get over, oh, I had 10 lines, now I only have 5, get over that, and be beyond grateful to be part of this magnificent tapestry, of humanity and where you happen to fall in it. So it's I'm enjoying the ride as a viewer, and beyond grateful to have participated.
I'll tell you, as a huge horror fan, as a huge pop culture buff, I have a freaking show named Pop Culture Weekly. I absolutely love the franchise. I love the season. I love what you're doing. I love, your performance as her. And it is, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, it is an escape from reality in many ways, but is still able to creatively and subtly, as you said, speak to us in ways that we may not even realize. There may not be somebody as, woke as you and I talking about addiction, that might just be a huge AHS fan, and they're watching, and, there might be a little seed planted in them that, maybe it's time we look at something like that, and they have no idea, which is also great. So I just love it.
Yay. Thank you. I'm beyond grateful and feel incredibly lucky to be able to be included in it all.
And I don't know if you can even answer this, so please tell me, don't just let me know, but are you, or can we expect you in the second story of this season?
There's the actor, and I read a script, and then you find out what's in the finished product, and things can so get changed. I'm surprised at the finished product. So I'm going to stay tuned like everybody else to kind of see what they come up with, because,
awesome.
I gave them the raw material with lines, and then they take a little bit here and they put that in the front, and they take a little bit here and they put it in the back. And so I'm just glued to what's happening next.
Well, I look forward to watching every second that you're on screen and watching, the entire season. I love it. You are a queen, Adina. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. Stay happy, stay safe. And let's do this again next year.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.